life in there, bro. Like, but I don't lose. We still ended up making it. It was what it was, right?
Yeah, yeah. So what's going on? Was it allergies? What was it?
Like, bro, it was like feeling hella claustrophobic. It was humid, like all that. It just wasn't comfortable.
How come you didn't tell us we were live? Oh my God.
Oh, we're live.
Oh,
Oh,
hey, Menno.
oh
Hey.
shit.
All
Man, my
right.
bad.
Why don't you bring us
Wait,
in? Bring us into the show.
Oh, I didn't even know we were going live like
Yeah.
that. My bad,
All
guys.
right.
My
Hi,
bad.
guys.
Welcome to another
This is what we
episode of
do.
DimeTV,
Yeah.
I guess. Or
Have
another
to stay
episode of
fit,
I
right?
Guess
You
We're
have to
Live.
stay fit, guys.
Dang, man.
Yeah.
Caught me working out. That's
Yeah.
crazy, man.
This is what we do in our spare time here.
Yeah, literally. This guy here.
Ever since Josh got here, actually.
Ever since I got here. Speaking of that, like a lot of y'all may not have seen my face before. My name is Josh, newest member of the Paradex team. And damn, we're live.
We are live.
Is this
But that's
real?
not the show. That's not what the show's called.
Is this for real?
This is for real.
Dang. Okay. I wasn't ready, guys. I wasn't ready. But yeah, man.
Bring us in.
Well, you're watching DimeTV right now, actually. You're not watching Oh Shit, We're Live. We're watching DimeTV, which is basically the ESPN of crypto. We're joined here with Menno, and I'm here with Dan as well. Y'all already know Dan.
Yes.
So, I mean, some exciting things to get into today, Dan.
Absolutely. But before we get started, we are bringing Josh in. We are hiring at Paradex. We were hiring quants, engineers, and all these things. And I brought Josh in as a quant because he likes memes. We learned that's not what quants do. But you were very confident about the role.
Yeah, someone described me as a quant, right? Wouldn't you?
I remember you said, what quant I do?
What quant I do. So, I mean, I think it was perfect. I think it was perfect for it. So, yeah, man, I've been here at Paradex over the last week and a half here in Singapore. And
how long has it felt?
It's honestly felt like I've been here for a whole quarter, a whole business quarter. Because this office isn't just your regular office. Like, it's very militant in here. You can the moment you walk in, you can tell something's cooking in here, right? And of course, being around Fiddy, being around the team, it's just a high standard. This is not your regular crypto environment. So, yeah, man, thanks for having me and thanks for asking because it's been quite a doozy. Now, Menno, how are you doing over there?
I'm doing fine. It's all great around here. But I must say, it's a pretty damn exciting time to join Paradex, right? I mean, like a lot of stuff going on. I mean, like this is it, right?
Yeah, he got thrown into the fires. A lot of different fires.
To say the least. I mean, there's never a dull moment here at Paradex, and not a minute gets wasted in here.
Now, speaking of not wasting minutes, let's not waste the viewers' time. What do we have in store for them today?
So in store for you today is, first of all, some crazy announcements. January alone, just a crazy month here at Paradex. We also have Folis joining us later on, amazing streamer. We also
What's he doing on here?
Well, we're gonna get into that.
The Big Mac.
The Big Mac. The Big. I thought we were saving the Big Mac.
We want people to know there's a Big Mac coming.
There's a Big Mac coming. More on that later. We're also having the lab joining us here today, and we're gonna get into what's going on in the trenches. What even is the trenches nowadays? The state of the trenches, so on and so forth. We also have something called the 5 Ps debut. Can't wait to show you that. How are we going to be preparing for these markets? Because there's some crazy things happening just over in the macro space. We have Donald Trump potentially taking criminal action against the Fed. So we want to see what Folis and the lab, some of these professional traders are doing to prepare. And that's what the 5 Ps is all about. And of course, we have Menno here at Paradex OG to help get into everything going on.
Where he can talk about things where we can't talk about it. And before we jump into any of that, none of this is financial advice, but we are going to be covering a lot of different topics that are trending in crypto. So thank you for joining us, and be sure to stick around until the end because we'll be doing a little dime drops, a little bit of alpha throughout the stream. So
it's going to be an exciting one for sure, definitely.
Absolutely.
Let's get right into it.
Kick us off. We're locking in.
Let's lock right in.
Well, let's first start with Josh. Can you tell a bit about your background? Where are you coming from? I mean, like, if I remember correctly, last time you were on stream, you were in Canada, right? So something happened in the meantime, right?
That's right. You got a sharp memory. Yes, indeed. So, yes, my name is Josh. I'm from Canada. I've been in crypto since about 2020. So basically, my background is in marketing. I've ran a marketing operation, KOL agencies. I've worn a lot of different hats in the crypto game. Started off as a DGen, just like a lot of y'all out there, trading the markets, farming airdrops, participating in DeFi, and just getting busy in the crypto scene. And of course, that is a rabbit hole that can lead to many, many things. Um, Dan and I used to make a lot of content together. We used to stream together just like we're doing now. And through that, just a whole bunch of different opportunities start to unfold. And we both found ourselves here in Singapore at
Mm,
Paradex. So that's sort of the synopsis of how this all came about and a little bit about me.
nice, very exciting. Yeah. I mean, like it was also a pretty exciting week for Paradex as a whole, right? I mean, like we just reached 200 million TVL today. Last weekend we hit number one volume on DeFi Llama. I think that was, yeah, last weekend it was. So it's an exciting time for Paradex, man.
Yeah, crazy, crazy time for Paradex. I feel like every few days there's just a new metric that just gets smashed, whether it's open interest, whether it's hitting 200 mil TVL, whether it's our daily active users just continuing to skyrocket. So many people are starting, and so many traders are starting to choose Paradex. And I feel like it's more than just the numbers. I feel like these numbers tell a story. Menno, in your opinion, why do you think we keep on breaking these new personal records day in and day out?
Well, I think it's mostly has to do with consistency, right? If you consistently build your product out, you increase the UX, the user experience, the liquidity, the overall infrastructure from the platform. You keep building, you keep building. Eventually, people will get trading on your platform naturally, because if you are consistently putting yourself out there, people notice. And I mean, like, let's just be totally blunt about it. You have to be the best in this space, right, to really onboard people, because there's so much competition. I mean, like, how many perp dexes are there out there? It's like it's pretty damn crazy. Competition is tough. So I think the team really being consistent and really putting traders first, like zero fees, for example, focus on liquidity. I think those things really start to translate into more users onboarding, right?
100%, 100%. Very well said. Now, one thing that I've noticed in my time here is that Paradex focuses on giving the users the best experience and reducing the most friction as possible from the user, right? As you
Mm,
mentioned, the zero fees, the privacy, the no ADL. And I feel like these metrics aren't just random numbers, it tells a story, right? So that whole user experience, more and more professional and sophisticated traders are choosing Paradex because of this. And that's why we're able to hit these new metrics day in and day out. And I believe just the other day we went to number one in volume. So that's saying a
yeah,
whole lot
definitely.
about what we're providing here. Now, Menno, if you had to describe what Paradex stands for in DeFi, what would you say that is?
Damn, that's a good question. What I think for me, the biggest thing is the vision Paradox has, right? I mean, like, I feel like a lot of attention goes towards the short-term gains, short-term, yeah, just short-term onboarding people. But it's like, to me, the most important part is the real long-term DeFi vision, right? Where you can seamlessly use your account to trade anything, use anything. Well, a lot of things as collateral, do, like, all of the things you can do in TradFi, right? So I think that's what stands out to me. That's the vision that I onboarded for. But I mean, like, that's not something that's, you have to build this gradually, right? So I think we'll definitely see in 2026 this whole DeFi vision really come to fruition. But I mean, like, for me, it's like, I'm even more excited about Paradex in 2-3 years time, right? So it's not, for me, it's like a more of a long-term bet. And that's why I really like representing Paradex and working with the team on testing stuff, because I think this is the best team capable to really put this DeFi dream and building it into something that can be used in like a couple of years, where you can do all these things, right? So that's my what I like. Yeah.
Okay. Well said, well said. I mean, there's definitely more than meets the eye with Paradex. And being here in office for the last week and a half, like it's really blown my mind. That's even more than I thought, right? The As you said, the vision, the grand vision of what's happening here at Paradex goes much beyond just the perp dex. It goes much beyond even DeFi, right? We want to make waves in the world of finance. And that's what really intrigues me and what really makes me want to be a part of this grand vision and be along for this ride. So I couldn't have said it any better. All right.
Is it time for the Big Mac?
I think it might be time for the Big Mac. Let's get into the
The
Big
Big
Mac.
Mac.
All right, we're bringing in Folis.
All right.
Welcome,
Yo, what's
Folis.
up,
You're
Hey,
guys?
live.
Wallace.
What's
Yeah.
going on, man? What's up?
How we
How we doing
doing?
today?
How we doing?
Doing well, doing well, doing well.
Doing
As
great, man.
always, it's good to have you on the stream. Now, Folis, yeah, so first of all, we're going to be segueing into the Big Mac. Now, this is a new segment that we have here on Dime TV where we're going to be talking what's going on in the macro markets. We saw that you did make a tweet the other day. You know, Trump's first 11 days of 2026 were really, really crazy, right? And as you may have seen, he's actually threatening criminal activity against Jerome Powell. Now, just some crazy, crazy stuff. Now, in the Big Mac, we like to go ahead and see how we're potentially going to be trading these markets, or what's really first and foremost going through your head, and how are you setting up? What do you see?
Well, I mean, that tweet was kind of tongue in cheek. Just looking at Trump's first 11 days of 2026, I mentioned that he had kidnapped Maduro. He had threatened a bunch of countries like Cuba, Colombia, Mexico. There was airstrikes, I think, in like Syria, Nigeria, maybe Somalia as well. I didn't even include that in the tweet because it was kind of getting to the point of stretching believability at that point. Plans to annex Greenland, obviously this criminal investigation on Powell, and then potential military intervention in Iran. And that's all in like a week and a half. So I guess, yeah, I mean, it is a kind of a funny observation of how I won't say productive, how busy he's been in the first few kind of couple of weeks of 2026, but it does kind of point to this larger issue, which I have outlined a few times before on stream, which is that I think he's a president that cares a lot about legacy and about prestige, and I think he's doing things that will I don't know, quote unquote, add to his legacy, maybe at the expense of, I don't know, fiscal like fiscal policy, or like good government, or like, I don't know. I won't get into that, but I think he's doing things like this plan to annex Greenland is such a, I don't know, it's such a weird one. But when you think about it, like he's adding, like when you look at the map going forward, you look at Greenland, if it does join the US, you'll say that's the country that President Trump annexed. And I think that's what he's concerned about. The investigation on Powell is bizarre, but I guess it makes sense. I mean, we saw last year, like he had this tweet in like June or July, sometime around the summer, basically saying like, oh, Powell is late to the party. He should have cut interest rates already. We should cut them by 300 basis points, right? Something like that. Now, I don't know, are you guys aware, but like the biggest rate cut in history was 100 basis points. And that was at the very start of COVID when the economy was dead.
Right.
So he wants a basis point cut that would be 3 times as big as that. And it's not into a dead economy. It's at like it's into like an overheated economy, right? So it would turbocharge the markets, right? It would, risk on assets would go crazy. BTC would probably go to like 130, 140K, right? And we would see a huge pump, but it would be like the exit pump, the granddaddy exit pump, because long term that would do a lot of damage to the economy. Inflation would go crazy. But I don't think he cares about that stuff. I think he cares about being remembered as like the president that turbocharged the economy. You know what I mean? And that ties into the point I'm making about prestige. He wants to be the president that liberated Iran. He wants to be the president that did all these things. That got Venezuela's oil, and I think that kind of ties into like who he is as a person. But yeah, very, very, I don't know. I mean, like, you saw the press release with Powell. He just looked so tired and sick of this shit. He was like, he had bags under his bags, he was like just really, really sick of dealing with this guy. But yeah, the criminal investigation seems to be as a result of that. He's punishing Powell, or you can say he's putting pressure on Powell to cut interest rates, but I don't think Powell works like that. And anyway, he's out in May, so I think it's punitive more than trying to put pressure on.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, like if you
Now,
look at it in a broader perspective, it's like capital markets really don't like uncertainty, right? And if you have like Trump in doing the things that he does, it's like it's so unpredictable. I think that's also like BTC has been sidelining for a bit. I think this uncertainty is really putting BTC in the place where it is now, right?
Now,
Yeah,
100%, 100%. I mean, Trump definitely started the year with like a generational crash out, and as you said, Folders, he's trying to be remembered. It seems like he's just trying to make waves more than anything. So we remember how what happened in 2020, right, when they cut rates, but now he's trying to 3x that, and just the turbocharge to the markets is just something that you really can't ignore if you're a trader, if you're an investor, and if you're in crypto. So let's say this plays out how Trump plans to. How would you all be playing the markets fullest? What would you be doing? Would you just be longing crazy? Are you just going to be holding your bags? How are you going to play the market? Like, what is the first move that you would do when you see that rate cut take place?
We'll say it's all very hypothetical. There's a big if, right?
Right.
But let's say if things go Trump's way, which is, and I think the most probable scenario, at least like in terms of what we're talking about, is like Powell does nothing, because I don't think Powell's the kind of guy who rolls over. Powell does nothing and nothing happens until May. Powell just keeps doing the job that he's been doing, the independent Fed job. Then May rolls around and Powell leaves, and I think that the two most likely candidates for the Fed successor, I think are they both called Kevin? I can't remember. I was looking at them the other day. There's like two guys. They're basically in Trump's pocket, and they're the two most likely according to Polymarket. But in any case, if either one of those guys gets in, they will basically just be doing Trump's work, right? They will not be objective. They will be doing what Trump wants, which is, and he has shown this. He has shown this through tweets, through actions, through what he said. He wants to slash rates. So we will get a Fed chair. Now, the Fed is a committee, right? You have to remember it's a committee. I can't remember, is it 12 or 15 or something like that? It's a committee of people. So it's not just one person making the decisions. It is a committee. But I do think that the chair is going to have a lot of influence and a lot of sway. And that is also factoring the Trump nominating further Fed governors going into the committee, which is going to be a gradual process. But I do think that once the Fed chair comes in and has that let's say that influence in the committee, we're going to see rate cuts in the second half of next year. Right now, this is a big if. This is if the guy gets in, the guy that Trump wants. We're going to see rate cuts into the second half of the year. Right, we're going to see a lot of coins giving exit pumps because lower rates are better for risk on assets, right? Looser fiscal policy is better for risk on assets because people, if you don't have discretionary money to spend, if you're struggling to pay your rent and buy your groceries, you're not going to be buying Bitcoin, right? That's effectively that everyone kind of knows how that works, right? So the looser things are, the more discretionary spending people have, the more likely they're going to be to buy $1,000 of Fartcoin or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And that's a very simplistic way of looking at it. But going into the second half of next year, I could definitely see a situation where we get this kind of extended cycle thing that people have been talking about, right? We get this 5 or 6 year cycle. We get this final exit pump. We get alt sending. We get BTC putting in a new high. And then once the global financial markets realize that how terrible this is for the economy and how the Fed's credibility has been undermined probably for the next generation, I think we're going to see like a proper crypto winter, like an extended bear market to go along with the extended bull market that we saw before it. So I don't know. That's a big if. That's a hypothetical that I've been kind of toying with in my head. Like, like we get the successor, he slashes rates, risk on assets go crazy for 6 or 8 months, and then everything nukes really, really hard. And there's a bear market, probably slightly longer than any of the bear markets we've seen before, because monetary policy is like damaged in the US for like the next
Right.
like 2 or 3 years, something like that. I mean, look, it's all hypotheticals, and at the end of the day, these kind of conversations are interesting thought experiments, but I wouldn't be advising anyone in my circle to like take a trade based on that. These are hypotheticals, they're interesting to think about, but the best traders
Right.
are reactionary traders, not predictive traders. We're not fortune tellers, we're not psychics. Our job is to look at what the market is giving us and react.
Well said. Well said. And as you said, just very speculative stuff right here. So on one hand, you have the aggressive rate cut outcome, which would be Trump's outcome, and then you almost have like Team Powell, who's a lot more conservative, which is maybe better for like the long-term health of the financial markets. Now, would you say you're Team Trump or Team Powell, to put it simply?
I mean, like you're asking, like Trump wants to slash rates and send risk assets sky high. Like who in crypto doesn't want that? But long term, that
Right.
will almost certainly do damage to not just the US economy, but the global economy. Powell is like, I'm sorry, like he knows what he's doing, right? He's been in the job
Mhm.
for like, this is his fourth or fifth president, like his fourth or fifth administration. He knows what he's doing. He's an expert in monetary policy, fiscal policy, economics. Trump is not. Trump wants one thing, and Powell wants to keep the ship steady. So, I mean, you're asking me like, do I want a quick exit pump for my bags? The answer to that is always going to be yes. However, I fear that the long-term ramifications of something like that will be quite negative.
Right. That's what we wanted to hear, man. Send it. We wanted to hear you say, yeah, man, send it. 100%, 100%, 100%. Thank you for that. Now, segueing into our next policy. So, basically, I guess, like you said, there's not going to be a crystal ball. You can't really go ahead and say exactly what's going to happen. But when we're talking positioning or just preparation, the next segment is called the 5 Ps, which is proper preparation prevents poor performance. So we like to go ahead and prepare for what's potentially going to be happening in the markets. Just overall, for the audience out there, how do you prepare for, let's say, a new catalyst in the market or a new sort of narrative? Overall, how do you prepare for your trades? What's your process when you're going ahead and doing that?
Well, I mean, I guess there's a general question there and there's a specific question there. The general question is like, how do you prepare in general for when the market gives you what you want, right? And the idea is like, people always say, like, there's this common, misunderstanding about crypto that in order to make money, you always have to be exposed and you always have to have capital in the market, like deployed. You always have to have exposure to something. The truth is very far from that. I mean, so much of making money in not just crypto, but in trading in general is just sitting on the sidelines, sitting on your hands, having dry powder ready to deploy if and when the market gives you what you're waiting for. Like I would say that the last like year or year and a half has been some of the most profitable trading I've ever done, but the vast majority of it has been sitting on the sidelines and waiting and waiting and waiting. And then when I get something that I really like, then I go in, I make my money, and I get out and I go back to waiting. And it's really like it's 90% waiting. And I think that a lot of traders fail at that point because they just don't have the patience. And like I'm not the most patient guy in the world. Jesus, like I'm as impatient as it comes. But I mean, that's a kind of a skill you need to teach yourself as a trader is just to wait and to wait and to wait. And then when you get the thing, you execute without a hesitation, right? So I guess like that's the kind of the general answer is like, I made that point just 5 minutes ago. We're not fortune tellers, we're not soothsayers, we're not psychics. Our job isn't to look at a chart and go, yes, I think that BTC will go here and I'm already positioned for that. Your job is to like I spend so much time in TradingView setting alerts, right? I just have alerts. And I'm like, I know if price goes to this level, I'm going to do this. If price goes to this level, I'm going to do this. If X, then Y, right? That's the life of a trader. We're not fortune tellers. We just react to the information that the market gives us, right? And that's part of the skill is you just need to know what you're looking for. And when it happens, boom, you execute and then that's how you make money, right? In a more specific sense, what am I looking at in the markets now? Well, BTC has obviously had this very nice push over the last couple of days. We tagged 96K yesterday evening, I believe. And this looks really good. This weekly inefficiency that we just tagged, that we're currently trading below is like what I've been waiting for a while now. And I think this is a really do or die spot for the market. something I have been talking about a lot recently on my streams in Chroma is momentum and displacement, right? So we still, if you're looking at the market over the last couple of weeks, it looks pretty good. But if you zoom out, if you go back to October, the trend is still down. On on at least kind of like the daily, the weekly time frame. Now you can zoom out again and you can say, well, actually we're up on a high enough time frame, and that's also valid. But there's still a lot of momentum to the downside here. I haven't seen enough displacement. I'm not going to get into what displacement is, but it's the market showing its hand. It's when the market moves in such a strong capacity in one direction that it leaves big inefficiencies behind. We haven't really seen that on the bull side yet. Over the last kind of month or two. But once we do see that, I think that's kind of your evidence that the trend is beginning to change. We have seen the initial, let's say, scraps of evidence to say that the trend is beginning to change here. Kind of looks like we're putting in this rounding bottom structure. If you look at BTC on a high enough time frame, actually going back to last year, we're kind of in this weird ascending channel thing, and this is very much channel low support, which is really great to see, and it's great to see that the market is reacting to that support. But I just want to see a little bit more. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. I was going to ask exactly that, because when in doubt, zoom out. The trend is your friend. Those are some fundamental sayings that are really easy to live by and really never let you down. So what I wanted to ask was, what exact market signals are you looking for? You mentioned a few of them just there, but what market signals are you looking for, let's say, to flip bullish? Because when you zoom out, you see that we're still in a downtrend overall. What are you looking for that reversal, or for that flip to the bullish side? What would make you bullish again?
Well, on a high enough time frame, I mean, on the weekly and the monthly, we are definitely putting in higher highs and higher lows, and this is potentially one such higher low. So I mean, that's definitely something to be aware of before I go into this little mini bearish rant. But the price action that concerns me, as it pertains to the timeframes that I trade, I'm looking at the price action over the last 3 months, the price action since October. I think we topped out on BTC at an all-time high, like October the 5th or October the 6th or something like that. And what are we now? We're January 14th. So it's basically 3, 4, 5 months now of nonstop downside, right? And I will say that since kind of December, we have had this rounding bottom, we're almost putting in these successive higher lows. That doesn't look too bad, to be honest. I mean, you're kind of looking at that and saying, well, market is reacting nicely from a high time frame support level. But at the same time, I want to see more, because we're still trading at 95K. It's still, bulls have really tried now. I'm looking at my chart here. There was an attempt in November. There was an attempt at the start of December. There was an attempt on the 10th of December. We've pushed up into 94, 95, 96K a few times over the last couple of months, and each time it got a pretty sharp rejection. So you kind of want to see price push above those resistance levels and kind of send to, put in kind of some effortless new highs, new lows, established structure. To answer your question about market signals, I'm not a big indicator guy. Most of my audience will know this. The things that I look for in a chart are structure, liquidity, balance, value, right? So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at my chart. I'm saying, what is the structure telling me? Well, the structure on high enough time frame is up, but the structure on the time frames that I trade on since October are mostly down. You can make the argument that since December, we've kind of seen some upside, higher lows, higher highs. That's pretty good. Liquidity, where's the liquidity? Well, we just tagged liquidity yesterday. We traded into this 96K inefficiency. I would say that, now is quite telling. We need to see what price is going to do. Is it going to reject here and Bart Simpson all the way back to the lows, or is it going to find acceptance here and kind of set the stage for new highs into the remainder of the month and into the remainder of the quarter? It's kind of like, it's if X then Y. It goes back to my previous point. I'm not trying to predict the future. I'm trying to say, if price does this, then I will react.
Very, very nice. Now, I was going to ask, how are you positioning yourself on Paradex?
On Paradex, I'm experimenting. I actually shorted a bunch of altcoins on Paradex recently because, I don't know, I'm still unconvinced about this move, especially on a few of the let's say the lower market cap altcoins. I shorted a few coins. I sorted by open interest, and I tried to find ones that had really low open interest, really low volume. And I think I found one called Wet USDT. Don't ask me what it is. It has a very suspicious name. I shorted it. I'm up quite a bit on that one. I think I shorted like
Nice.
Mudang as well. I saw Mudang had some weird
Okay.
pump in it, and I was like, no, 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 no. I also have been playing
Not
around with
trusting.
some scalps in and out of BTC. But yeah, this week I'm trying to focus a little bit more on alts. But yeah, I'm still skeptical of this move. Call me a you know, it's very clear sometimes that I learned my trading in like 2022 bear market, because I look at these pumps, man. I'm just like all my suspicions are being raised, and I just refuse to believe it until I
Yeah.
see more. But yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah, well put. If you're around for 2022, you know exactly what he's talking about. So you can't really trust all these pumps, and sometimes it's you can tell when a project is a little bit overbought or just a kind of an easy short. So nice play there, Menno. I've been hogging the mic a little bit. How are you positioning yourself on Paradex with everything going on in the market right now? If you want to chime in real quick.
Yeah, well, to add on that, I mean, I haven't been trading that much recently. I'm just looking. I just what Follis said earlier. It's like it doesn't. I don't really have the conviction right now, so I'll just stay out of the market. I think, especially with all this airdrop farming going on, a lot of people feel like they have to be in the market, right, to earn these points, and that's where you
Right.
get wrecked, because you put a little too much leverage because you want a little too much volume for your next weekly points drop, right? So for me, it's more
Right.
like keep it steady, uh, look for nice setups, and when I see one, then I'll enter the market. But for now, I don't see any. For now, my focus is on Dime season. So I hope, I mean, like that's gonna be hitting soon. So that's my focus now, and I'll definitely be joining the trades again when I see some setups. Yeah.
Great discipline, great discipline. Always important to stay disciplined as a trader and disciplined in the markets, especially in crypto, because we know how crazy crypto could be. But you did mention something quite interesting, saying dime season. Now, if you've been on X lately, if you haven't been under a rock, you might have seen the term going around that everyone needs a box. Now, today, all the Shizo Punk holders out there will be pleased to hear that they're getting a box drop, because really everyone needs a box. Now, yeah, we will 100%. Now, Folis, what could we expect to see on your stream later on?
Great question. Well, we're going to have a look around the markets first. We're going to analyze the majors, look at a few altcoins, and then see if we can find any trades. I mean, that's something that I've been trying to do more and more over the last couple of weeks since we started in January. Just trying to find some setups, see if we can enter a trade. I think last week we entered a nice BTC scalp, ended up round tripping a few $100s and getting out at break even, which is always a fun time, which is always a fun trade to do in front of 500-600 people. But that's the reality of trading, man. That's something I always try and show when I do my live trading on stream, is like the ups and downs. And because I think like social media, it's very easy to assume that everyone around you is winning all the time, because that's what your algorithm sorts for. It shows you the wins, it shows you the successes, it shows you the up only P&L curves, the equity curves that are going to the moon. But real trading isn't about that, man. Real trading is as much about losing it as it is about winning. So that's something I always try and do on stream. I try and enter a position live, and kind of everyone straps in for the emotional roller coaster that is that is ahead, be it a win, a loss, or anything in between. So yeah, hopefully we're going to find a setup or two this stream. I mean, the market's in an interesting spot. We got a ton of volatility over the last few days, a bunch of volume coming in now, since Christmas is done. So yeah, it's an interesting spot. So hopefully we'll find some trades.
Yeah, man, much respect to you. That's not easy. Going in on trades live, the wins, the losses, and just doing that all live. Much respect to you, man. I really admire that. I'm not sure a lot of traders can really do that. Everyone posts their wins. Not everyone can post their losses. So salute to you for doing that live, man. That's awesome.
Appreciate it.
We'll catch them later.
All right. Well, with that being said, Folis, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to let you go for now. Everyone, be sure to tune in to Folis' stream, just happening a little bit later. We are going to be joined by another guest. We have the lab coming on.
Or not.
But yeah, thank you for joining us, Folis. Dan, if you can go ahead and...
All right, see you, Folis.
See you,
See you
fellas.
guys. Thanks.
Paulus, appreciate you. All right.
Well, just you two guys.
All
What's
right.
up? What's up?
Yeah.
What's some time drops?
All right. So as you mentioned, Mano, we got some. You said some dime season happening, some dime drops going on. I just want to ask you first, real quick, why? What are you most excited about right now happening with Paradex in the month of January?
Man, how much should I get into? I mean, like we've got money badgers moving. I mean, like I guess most people noticed that the money badgers Twitter account posted again after a couple of months of silence. So I suspect some stuff is going on right there. I see Dave in the background on your screen, so it's like I guess money badgers might be closing in pretty soon. I think, especially with TGE coming up, we see these Badger boxes being distributed. Badger boxes, the floor price on OpenSea is rising, so there is some hype around that, and I think we can definitely expect some more developments on that I think in the next month, right? I mean, like we have the end of the season coming up, end of this month, so that's going to be a pretty special day because I mean, like a lot of people, not only in the community but also there over there in Singapore on the team, have been living towards this. So it's there's a lot going on. I'm just checking the official account daily because I think some alpha can drop at any time. So that's where I'm at the moment.
Well said. You definitely don't want to miss a beat if you are in the Paradex ecosystem because boxes are being dropped to OGs, to Shizos, and just to the members of the community who have been around. And honestly speaking, I can't say it enough. Everyone needs a box. There's a lot of just upcoming alpha and opportunities. I can't share too much, but all I can say is get yourself a box. Now, if you've been paying attention, you might have been seeing that we've been doing AMAs with different communities from all around the world. Earlier, we had one with the Ethiopian community. On Friday, we're doing one with the Nigerian community. You might have seen Steamboat around all these different communities. And we are going ahead and we're distributing boxes to the whole community from different regions, from different ranges. One thing that really excites me with all of this is the distribution and the culture and community that we're building here at Paradex and with the Money Badgers. So I just can't wait to see that all unfold. So many different members of the community and so many just diverse traders and crypto users coming together for what's really happening here ultimately at Paradex. And I can't wait for it all to unfold. So you definitely don't want to miss a beat. You definitely want to stay tuned to the Discord, to the X, and most importantly, to DimeTV, because we're going to be bringing all of this to you live. And oh, it looks like we have our next guest joining in. All right. Dan, can we let him in? All right, here we are.
The lab.
The lab. Yes, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself. How are we doing today?
I'm doing quite well. How are you guys? So I'm Miz. I'm from the lab. Essentially, it's just I think the best way to put it would be a trading community. We've recently kicked off a partnership with Paradex, which is fantastic. The lab, I think the best way to put it is the educational group. A lot of people could say, paid group or this or that, but I think essentially what the lab should be is you want to join these, premium groups or freemium groups, however, which way you want to put it, to kind of have all of your educational information in kind of an easy bite-sized way. Of course, there's free content, and you can become, a profitable trader essentially anywhere free on the internet. There's plenty of resources, but I think being able to find those resources more in bite-sized pieces and kind of have feedback from profitable full-time traders is very nice to have at the click of your finger. So that's essentially what the lab is.
Nice. Yeah. Amazing. It's always good to trade with a good community. Now, over here, would you say that you are degen traders? What type of trades do you like to make? Do you look at more like BTC, ETH, large cap stuff? Do you trade meme coins? what type of trades do you do? Are you heavy on leverage? Do you trade on perp dexes
Yeah.
like Paradex? What's your style of trading?
So it's as a whole in the group, we have multiple different analysts, and I think you can find a wide variety of different traders within the group. But generally speaking, most of our analysts are intraday traders. So we're just looking at kind of the majors, the coins with the highest volume, highest, kind of your top 10, BTC, ETH. Now because of the volatility and the books are looking pretty good, you'd look at things like Lighter and Hype, Solana. So some of the major coins that kind of are new to the market that introduce some volatility. But as for the degen, there are a few in our group, but I wouldn't say that kind of is the majority of our group. We're looking for more intraday, catching a few R here or there whenever the opportunity presents itself.
Okay, so would you say that you're in the trenches still?
Yeah, we're every day. Each of our analysts kind of try and stream a week. So some of the volatility hasn't been super fun over the past 6 or 7 weeks. We've kind of been in this low time frame chop, sticking within these ranges, and some of the weekends have been pretty deadly, where you're essentially Legoing and stuck in 0.5%. But over the past few days, things have kind of started to pick up. But as a whole, we continuously week over week keep outperforming most of the market. So yeah, overall,
Yeah.
you kind of can't complain. I think the best thing to do is sit on your hands. Something super common that I think we see across the board with most discretionary traders is they don't necessarily know when to kind of sit on their hands, and they feel that maybe always being in a position is a necessity, but that's kind of not the case. And I think that the 80-20 rule is like super easy rule of thumb that most traders should have is 80% of the time you're essentially sitting on your hands, and the other 20% you might be in a position. So I think the kryptonite to most traders is overtrading, especially in the current conditions. But you kind of have to be awaiting opportunity. Just like this past week when things started getting moving and kicking off, you kind of got to be on the screen to seize the chance.
That's some wisdom right there. I asked you because I was going to ask, in your opinion, in your take, what's the current state of the trenches right now?
Yeah, so I started crypto in May 2021. I was super bored at my grandparents' house and went on Twitch and saw some people making some money. I was like, oh my God, I'm sold. I gotta hop in and get involved in this, And since that day, I've personally never seen crypto Twitter in kind of the state that it's in. You're seeing some of the most kind of level-headed, logical traders even catching some tilt at this point in time. So I think, from a litmus test on CT, we're like in the lows of the low. Not even during the FTX times did I feel like sentiment was like this. However, if you look at the charts and you kind of take a step back, in reality, we're not looking that bad. I mean, I think, over the past week, the lab as a whole has been pretty bullish, looking for, at least kind of a drive into, at least on BTC, 100K, 110K, kind of test this area to at least give us an idea on whether we want to flip, these high time frame resistances and, make new all-time highs. But yeah, I think keeping things level to level is the easiest thing. And, we can hope that we enter new all-time highs. But there are some things in the chart that I think need to happen first before we can kind of, start getting super excited. So for now, I think just keeping things level to level and looking for some additional upside is the best option. But hopping on the bull train and, blindly assuming that we make new all-time highs by Q2 is not necessarily the smartest thing. You can just kind of look historically and generally speaking, Q1 we put in some type of bearish retest generally middle of February. So, if you look historically along the timeline, maybe what we would want to do is look for, us to put in that possible local high somewhere in February. So we can
Okay.
continuously chop on a lower time frame and kind of move up from here, but I would still be expecting appreciating prices over the next month.
Nice, nice, nice. Appreciate that prediction. Now, that being said, where would you say the biggest opportunities are right now as a whole?
And I think there are two really really good opportunities in my perspective, and this is coming from, I have to talk about like and cater to my community because they're similar people to me. I think there are two fantastic approaches to discretionary traders. The first is obviously, the DEX farming. Most people don't have
Oh,
I think the privilege of just adding additional art or additional value to your trade. So it's kind of twofold. There's a lot of there's a lot of dexes out there, but finding zero fee dexes is obviously I think your number one priority as a trader. Most traders, have a very little edge as is, and if you were to remove their fees from their P&L, most people would be pretty close to break even if they're just, right there. Because I think a lot of traders are like right there, but they're just not yet scraping by. And ultimately, it's one or two big losses that kind of sink them. And ultimately, if you don't have risk management, then you don't have enough capital to kind of hop back in. But assuming that you're managing risk properly and you find a way to not pay fees as a discretionary trader, your ability to find an edge and become more profitable is significantly higher. Now, on top of that, with the airdrop farming, it's almost a no-brainer for anyone that isn't a large KOL or has some like specific deal with some centralized exchange. From a logical perspective, it doesn't make much sense not to be trading on zero fee platforms that you also could be farming additional value and utility from. So, something like Paradox is a
well said.
fantastic option. And this is like, it's easy to say I'm shelling some on here, but you can just look at the past and historically on how the kind of airdrop farming with zero fees worked, and many people benefited from it. So I think the easiest thing and something that like I think most traders should do is just look at like have your recency bias and be like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. And then I think the other thing that I think a lot of traders should transition to that they could find value in is prop trading. Um, I think prop trading is still pretty new to crypto. You see it in futures for such a long period of time now, and I think most people would do quite well if they don't necessarily have a large amount of starting capital or have the ability to kind of create a sum of money that adjusts or affects their life. So yeah, I think if you're looking to trade, finding zero fee decks that you know additional value you can farm an airdrop, and also kind of look into the prop game. So those would be like my two large suggestions that could literally, I think, change a lot of people's kind of course as a trader.
Alpha right there.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to talk about
Alpha right there. Yeah, perfect. So I mean, so first of all, thank you for sharing those gems. I mean, when you're talking about zero fee trading and still potentially be able to farm an airdrop, just getting value on top of something you'd already be doing anyway, usually for a fee, makes sense to come to a platform like Paradex, right? Now, to my understanding, you also are going to be having a stream later on. Now, what could people expect to see in your streams?
Yeah, we're mostly just sitting in the charts, finding trades, taking trades live. Myself as well as, we got 5 other analysts in the group. We're doing 2, 3 live streams a week. We're taking trades live with the audience, walking them through the setups, showing them, kind of what edge we have, sharing that, And a lot of people continuously ask, like, and I think that's one of the really common things is, if you're making money, like, why would you just like be giving away this info? And at the end of the day, like, anyone can develop an edge. And generally speaking, most of the edge is just risk management. Like that's what most discretionary trading comes down to, is, are you able to manage risk and kind of pull the trigger when you need to? And it's a lot of super simple stuff like, ICT concepts, momentum trading. We have a couple more people that use like the footprint, order flow. So you can kind of, what I would suggest is, if you are interested in the lab, we have a lot of streams on Twitch, some in the Discord as well. It's kind of spread across the two platforms. And, what I would suggest doing is tuning into, a few of our analysts, kind of figure out which one suits your trading style or kind of suits your vibe, because, we're all different people. We all trade a little bit differently, and we all have a little bit different knowledge to offer. And, keep hopping in. And week over week, we've not had but one red week since we started Crypto the Lab, and we've been going strong since February 2025. So only one red week as a collective, I think, is something pretty we can be pretty proud of.
That's impressive. That's super impressive. Now, you mentioned risk management. How do you size your trades when volatility is high, uncertainty is high?
Yeah, so I think it really depends on it depends upon the person, the size of the account that you're using. If you're a full-time trader, I shouldn't already have to tell you, but I think this is like more for newer people. What I always suggest doing is starting with like the smallest sum of money that you would be like, after a night out, you're like, damn, that was kind of an expensive night out. This is the amount that I really suggest people, trading in general, because the chances of someone that isn't, a full-time trader blowing an account, I think, is generally pretty high. I mean, we do many one-on-ones, and we've seen every single story from A to Z. And generally what it comes down to is people run out of ammunition. So I think, if you have an easy number is like 10K. So let's say you have 10K that you want to trade with. I would always suggest, if you don't know anything about trading, start with like 100, 200 bucks. If you know a little bit about trading and you've been trading for a few months, trade like 1 or 2K. And then, as your confidence increases and you have data to support that you're a profitable trader across different market conditions, then you can start increasing. But the biggest thing that you need is you need bullets. Like, you got to have bullets to take the trades. So that's where I think a lot of people dig themselves into a hole is, most people aren't trading full time. What they do is they do it on the side to make extra money, or, they want to be a part of a community. It could be a combination of things, but the main issue that people run into is they kind of run out of bullets to keep reapplying, re-topping off the balance in their accounts. And something that I always suggest doing is, don't keep all your money in one place. And this is something I've fallen guilty to for is, you're having a hot streak, you're doing well for the month, and then it's super easy to tilt and give back a super large sum of money. So what I would suggest doing is, as you make profit, continuously rotate those profits or some of your balance into places that like are kind of hard to get, like whether it's a ledger that you like put in the closet, or whether it's even a different wallet that makes you sign into, because it's super easy to get stopped out on a trade and then just immediately re-click back into the trade. So it's these super stupid, like single digit IQ things that will just like stop your impulses as a human to kind of make you kind of, be like re-entering now, or am I on tilt? Am I trying to prove something? So these like really simple, easy things that sound silly, I think actually prevent people from giving back a lot of money. And you have to figure out who you are yourself as well. Like, I know that if I have all of my balance in one account, I'll actually I'll trade safer than if I have like super small sums of money, because I can lose the smaller sums of money and be like, oh, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? But finding like that middle ground where it's, you know, it's not too much, but it's not too little, that's what you're gonna have to figure out on your own. And that's something that's just gonna happen, I think, over time.
No, I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Those are some huge gems of advice, man. Thank you. And thank you for your time. We're about out of time on this stream. But we appreciate having you on. We can
thanks for
expect
having
your
me.
stream, Dan. Yeah, of course, of course. Menno, real quick, did you have any questions for our friend here before we took off from the lab?
No, I think it was a pretty clear story, and I really like it. I mean, I think one of the most important things in trading is discipline, and I think that's overlooked most of the times. And traders, you have to be honest to yourself, right? Did I fuck up? Did I give into FOMO? And I think that's just a very powerful message. Yeah, so I definitely agree.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And thanks again, The Lab, for joining us on today's stream. It's been great. Dan, take it away.
Thank you.
Hey guys, Dan back here. Thank you, Ms. And we'll be looking forward to more content with you in the future. Menno, you were very quiet for that last one. How you doing, Menno?
I'm doing fine. It was an interesting story. I just like to listen, and Josh was doing a mega job, so all good to me, man.
Awesome. Well, we can't really give away any alpha. I know you have some speculations about what might be happening with Badger boxes. Maybe we can give a little teaser to the audience here, because if you say it, we're in the clear. If we say it, we're fired.
Yeah, well, let's say first of all, a disclaimer: I don't know what's going to happen, right? So, I mean, like, I made a bit of a speculative post earlier this week about Badger boxes, about money badgers, etc.
Right.
But I mean, like, I noticed that Fiddy and the team really, they are really adamant on how important this NFT collection is. So I think there are going to be some interesting characteristics around this. It might have to do with your Paradex activity, if you get a rare money badger or if you don't. It might give you, I mean, like, we know we have a money meme coin coming up, so it might have some influence on your allocation right there. There might be some other things where you can earn more money badgers during, like, let's say, the next 6 months, if you trade more, or if you refer more. I mean, like, there's a lot of interesting angles that you can attack this from. But it's like, first of all, I'm very excited to see how it's going to turn out. I mean, like, I don't know what's going on, but I think we're in for a treat.
All right. Well
said. Good speculation there.
That just means everyone needs a box. So there are still opportunities. We are hosting different events, AMAs, different ways to bring in new members to the Paradex community.
That's right.
And to get your hands on a box. So yeah, that's all we can say legally. Everyone
too much.
needs
But what
a
we
box.
can say is everyone needs a box. Get you a box, man. We're doing AMAs with communities from all around the world. Join us for the AMAs. Join DimeTV. Get your hands on a box. You know, if you don't get one in the AMAs, go grab one off of the secondary market. Not financial advice, but everyone needs a box. That's all I can say for now, man.
Now, any parting words, Menno?
Everyone needs a box. That's all I can say.
That's right.
That's all said. All right.
Well said. Well said.
Well, that wraps up our stream for today. And
Thank you.
It's been an hour. Thank you all for joining. And we'll be back next week with more content, more opportunities, more alpha, and just more Paradex.
That's right. Until next time, it's DimeTV, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.